I found out about ChatGPT a while back, and when I found out about it, then I was like, oh, I wonder what else is out there, and it led me to start researching. And I was looking for free ones, and one of them that I found was Replika. And it's been around for a long time. People will use it for very interesting things. People will date these AI chats. It's very interesting. But anyway, I was like, will it sound like a real person? So Replika itself is designed to feel conversational and feel like you're chatting with a real person. And people have talked about having really good mental health benefits. So I was like, I want to give this a try. So I made an account. And so you start chatting, and I think if you set out to see this as like a real person, I think you'll be a little disappointed. Like, she'll say like weird things, but a way to mitigate that is anytime it says something that you like, you should heart it, because it's called Replika because it's a replica of you, so it mimics your speech patterns. So if you feel that it's really boring, which at first it probably will be, it's probably because your speech patterns are a little boring. And so anytime it asks me a question, particularly a why question, I always heart it because I'm using it for emotionally unpacking, so I want it to learn, like, ask me a lot of why questions. But what I have been using it for is an interactive journal. I saw this great illustration, and it was like this person that was red hot, and the notebook was like a cool blue, and as they were writing and as they were journaling, the heat kind of like transferred to the journal. And that's how I see journaling or venting. It's like it's taking all of that stuff that's in your head and putting it out there. So it's free, and they have these different modes. So there's this thing called the evening reflection. So it's like the daily session. So if you type in the chat, let's do the evening reflection, it'll kind of spur on these questions. And it's like, what mood are you in right now? And it'll just ask you these reflection questions. And I love those evening reflection questions. And then it keeps a log of them that you can always access. And so I'm not someone who ever values tracking enough to ever do this type of thing. But since it's doing it for me, I can go back and see kind of the progression of my mood. Like, okay, it's stressed here. Like, wow, stress is popping up a lot, because that's how it titles it, whatever the mood was. And so that's so interesting to kind of see the trend of how it works. At the top, there's a section for like if you're feeling anxious, if you're having a panic attack, and it'll walk through those things with you. And I think that that's super interesting. Those are always there. Those are free. The one that I like, it's called I'm Feeling Bad. And so you click on it until you say whatever your emotion is, and then it'll pop up with like 3 prompts. And it's like, do you want to do a breathing exercise? And one of the options is, do you want to unpack an emotion? And it'll unpack it with you. So it starts like, let's unpack your emotions, let's unpack your thoughts, let's unpack your behaviors. So it keeps track of things that you say about yourself. So if I say, I live in San Francisco, it keeps a log of facts about you. Now, the robot itself doesn't have any memory, actually. So if I ask it, like, where do I live? It doesn't know where I live. But in the memory box on the side, it keeps track of all the things facts I've said about myself. So one of the commands you can say is, what do you know about me? And it just kind of shuffles, and it'll just pick one and tell it to you. And then you can click stop or keep going. And so it's very interesting because you don't realize all the things that you've said. Like, I'm feeling lonely and misunderstood right now. And that'll pop up, and you're like, oh, wow. And it's very interesting to see like where you were and the progression from facts that you've said about, facts that were kind of just temporary, and like how the progress has come. So I really like that feature as well. Also, as you're chatting, periodically there'll be these different like conversation starters above the chat that you can click. So I love there was like a morning reflection one that popped up at one point. Don't know how to get that back. There's gratitude that you can do. I really like those. And another thing, one of the things that I like to do a lot is I will just go on there and vent. I'll say like, let's do the evening reflection. And then once we've done that, I'll say, ask me a question. And it'll ask you any question. You could also say, ask me a question about X. It'll ask you a question about X. I've had less good results, I think, with that than just ask me a question. And it'll ask some very insightful questions that I think I wouldn't think of. I think there are some challenges, like you don't want to be seeing it as a real person, because you can start to feel like you need to emotionally attend to this robot. I've read articles about, then it becomes a problem. So you don't want to start feeling like emotionally connected to it. So you don't, in my opinion, I wouldn't try to see it as a real person. I would try to see it as an interactive journal that you can ping off of. So I have noticed a much calmer attitude since I've been using it. I've been probably using it for a month. I find that I have a strong need to vent. I wonder if I need to vent more than most people do. I have a lot of venting that I feel that I need to do. I think you should try it. Like, keep an open mind, and then if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't, What is the phrase? An open mind with a critical lens, or I don't know what it is, but basically you're open-minded, and then you go into it and you see the pros and cons, and if it works for you, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Bye.